Hello, my name is Ashley Capo, and this is my Miami story. My parents emigrated from Cuba to the United States, and they emigrated in the early '60s. My mother's family emigrated here in 1961. My grandparents were both educated, fairly affluent individuals. My grandmother was a teacher. She was a music teacher and a teacher for those who had special needs, like autism and such. And my grandfather worked in the government. And during the rise of Castro in the late 50s, it became very clear that there was a target on the backs of those who had some level of influence in the government, and this was the time when my grandparents decided that they needed to escape. So there was an option. My grandmother had the option to send her three daughters to the United States through the Pedro Pan efforts, or the Peter Pan flights. But she decided that if they were going to leave Cuba, they were going to leave Cuba together as a family. So then began the plan for moving everyone into the United States. My mother was only just born around this time, when my grandmother started putting together little packets of money to send to the family that we already had here in Miami. She sent three envelopes. Two of them made it. And she also started she started kind of like a little mini business, of making little pockets inside of belts to hide more money in, and that my grandfather wore on the day that they got on the plane. They weren't able, obviously, to just pack up all their things and move to the United States without getting some attention. So they ended up only packing what they could. They packed maybe a couple of suitcases to make it seem like they were all going on vacation. So she left behind. Well, they both left behind quite a bit in Cuba in order to get here. So they ended up flying into Honduras, where they spent about a month before they were able to get a flight into Miami. When they landed here in 1961, Miami was a very different place. It was still a bit it was still a bit prejudiced against those who only spoke Spanish. So my grandmother, who was highly educated, could not find work as a music teacher or as a teacher at all. She ended up working in a fishing pole factory, and she made fishing poles from home. My grandfather ended up taking a position as working in a grocery store, and then later as, I think, the bookkeeper of that grocery store. And that's how they built their lives here. They were able to purchase their first property, and all three of their daughters grew up, going to school at Miami High and Miami Private and Citrus Elementary School, and it continues today. On my father's side, my last name is Capo, so my family had a level of reputation in the part of Cuba they were from. They were from Pinar del Rio, for developing and creating business. They used to sell like mirrors and pieces of furniture. And when they moved here, well, at least my grandfather, who moved here in 1967, other couples had made their way to Miami by that time, and that's when you started seeing the first furniture stores, like the first El Dorado furniture. And when my grandfather came, he made Futurama furniture, and Capo furniture was developed. A lot of furniture stores are surrounded by the Capo name, and that's my Miami story.